In August 2018, 27-year-old Megan Cordy and her mother, Jennifer Weathers, attended the wedding of a family friends in Yamhill County, Oregon. What should have been a fun evening of dancing and celebration would end in anything but. While on their way home that night, something happened to Megan. Only 3 people know the real truth about what unfolded. One of them is no longer alive to tell the tale. The other claims Megan simply got out of the car and vanished. And the third was just 3 years old, sitting in her car seat when she saw her mother for the last time. Too young to be able to say what really happened. The case of how Megan Cordy found herself at the bottom of an embankment along the edge of a Dayton road is one filled with inconsistencies and intense frustration. This is her story. Megan Cordy was born in December 1990 to parents Jennifer Weathers and Anton Cordy. She was the older sister to one younger brother, Jacob. Not much is known about Megan's childhood or upbringing. Her father, who went by Tony, was the former Clackamas fire captain, and she lived in Oregon. Megan welcomed a beautiful little girl into the world in 2015, naming her Gia. Gia was Megan's entire world. There was nothing she wouldn't do for her, and the pair were extremely close. Megan's aunt, Tracy, described her niece as the type of person who loved to make others smile. She didn't take life too seriously and would happily act silly if she knew it would cheer someone up. One of the first things people would notice about Megan was her brilliant smile. As cliché as it may sound, she really did light up a room. On August 18th, Megan, her mother Jennifer, and her 3-year-old daughter Gia attended a family friend's wedding at Heiser Farms, an events venue and pumpkin patch. It is located in a rural area, quiet and idyllic. Seemingly the perfect place to celebrate a couple's love with those closest to them. The day before, Megan and her mom had gotten into an argument about which of them would be the one to drive out to the wedding venue, an area they were not familiar with. Jennifer wanted Megan to take her own vehicle so she could take her daughter back if Gia got tired and did not finish Jennifer's evening of partying. In the end, Jennifer was the one who drove them there. Whether either of the women had an alcohol problem is unknown, but with the events that unfolded in the following hours, it's clear to say that alcohol certainly played a significant role. The couple had a beautiful ceremony followed by a lively reception. The drinks were flowing, and everyone was having a good time. Everyone, it seemed, except for Megan and Jennifer, both of whom had been drinking. Guests witnessed the pair getting into an argument about something. It was heated, and Jennifer was allegedly noticeably intoxicated at the time. Some saw her swaying and said she was between a 6 to 8 on a scale of 1 to 10 of drunkenness. Certainly not someone you would want behind the wheel. Gia started to get tired at around 10 p.m. She was only 3 years old at the time, and it's easy to see why Megan wouldn't want to be at a reception with a cranky toddler who can't sleep because of the music and unfamiliar environment. Jennifer was not impressed and wanted to stay at the party longer. She allegedly said to Megan that exactly what she said was going to happen did happen, referencing her having to leave early because of Gia. When they left, Jennifer was driving and Megan was in the front seat. Gia was strapped into her car seat in the back. The argument continued in the vehicle, and after driving a short distance, Jennifer stopped and Megan got out. Her cell phone pinged in this location, which is how the authorities know this occurred. They carried on arguing before Jennifer convinced Megan to get back into the car. This time, she was sitting with Gia in the back seat. While on the road, Megan placed a call to her boyfriend, and he could hear the argument still going on between the pair in the background. It was fiery, and there was screaming. Some reports suggest Megan told her boyfriend that Jennifer was drunk. Once that phone call ended, Megan's boyfriend would never speak to her or see her alive again. The following version of events is what Jennifer told the authorities in the days after this dreaded car ride. Jennifer says Megan, angry because of their fighting, demanded she stop the car so she could get out. Jennifer did just that, and Megan got out, leaving her phone and shoes in the car. Jennifer shouted out the driver's side window for Megan, but said when she turned the car around to look for Megan, she was nowhere to be seen. She then spent the next 30 minutes driving up and down this section of road, looking for Megan, before deciding to go home, stating that she wanted to get Gia back home. Jennifer said she thought Megan either got a lift with someone or made it back to the wedding venue. Jennifer went home that night, got into bed, and fell asleep all while not knowing if her daughter had made it home safely. She hadn't.
Hi, is this a number I call for a non-emergency?
This is the dispatch center non-emergency number. How can I help you?
I'm sorry. My daughter has been missing since last night, and I'm getting kind of worried because she's supposed to work in 10 minutes, and I haven't heard anything from her. We were at a wedding, and she was upset and got out of the car, and I haven't heard from her since, and I haven't been able to find her. I drove around for 2 hours this morning looking for where she got out of the car, and so I don't know if I should call 911 or if I have to wait a certain amount of time.
The next morning, on August 19th, Jennifer wakes up and finds that Megan is not back. She decides to see if she can report her missing, but doesn't do so by calling 911. Instead, Jennifer dials the non-emergency line. In the call, she states she spent 2 hours that morning looking for Megan, but has been unable to locate her.
No, there's never a certain amount of time that you have to wait.
Okay.
Do you want to report her as missing?
Yeah, I think so.
Where was she missing from?
I've checked the hospitals and I checked the jails, and she's not in either one of those. So the wedding was at Heiser Farm in Dayton, Oregon.
This call has been much debated, from Jennifer's words to her tone of voice. She does seem calm throughout the conversation, but people do handle stress differently. However, the mention of calling the jails and hospitals seems strange. If Jennifer did think that her daughter could have been arrested or hurt badly enough to be in the hospital, surely there would be a greater sense of urgency here. Furthermore, when you've ruled out those options, worries won't subside. If anything, they would increase. Now, Megan could be injured somewhere without a way of calling for help. Or worse yet, she could have gotten into the car with the wrong person.
And what is your name?
My name is Jennifer Weathers.
And what is her name?
Megan, MEIGHAN, Cordie, CORDIE.
You know what she was wearing?
She was wearing I want to say it was floral pantsuit. It was one piece, short sleeve, navy blue with flowers on it. And she doesn't have her phone. She didn't have her phone. She left it in my car. She didn't have her wallet. Everything was in my car.
Okay, we'll go ahead and have someone get in contact with you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The authorities got the report and took Megan's sudden disappearance very seriously. She had apparently gotten out of a car at night on a dark, unlit road in a rural area that she was not familiar with. That seemed like a recipe for disaster. An appeal was put out for volunteers to aid in the search for Megan, and her face was being blasted all over the local area. 300 volunteers and emergency workers gathered to search the woods, rivers, and farmlands where Megan was last seen. There was not a trace of Megan anywhere along this route. To put the area into perspective, on the day Megan disappeared, she had popped into a store that a family friend works at, not far from the wedding venue. Megan Spencer complimented Megan's outfit, a blue floral jumpsuit, and Megan replied, "Thank you."
And she came in and she was in like a floral pantsuit, and I remembered it because we do have weddings down here, but it's not overly common to see a bunch of people dressed up, so I said, "Oh, that's really pretty." She said, "Thank you."
Megan Spencer was shocked to hear about the disappearance, but not at the fact that someone could go missing in this area. Well, if she was barefoot, and it's 10:30 p.m., 10 p.m. at night, it's pitch black down there, there's no streetlights, no nothing, she remarked.
Well, if she was barefoot and it's 10:30, 10 at night, it's pitch black down there. There's no streetlights, no nothing.
By the end of the first day, Megan's family and friends were devastated to hear that there was no news. She was still missing, and time was of the essence. Given the strange circumstances surrounding Meghan's disappearance and the fact that the authorities knew who the last person she was seen with was, it's not surprising that they wanted to speak further with Jennifer Weathers. But first, they wanted to search her car. They found Meghan's cell phone and shoes in the front seat, where Meghan had first been sitting when she left the wedding venue. And while the fact that Meghan had left her phone was alarming, there was something far more worrying inside the car: a clump of blonde hair in the front seat. The roots were still attached, showing they had been pulled out, not cut. Now it seemed the argument that Jennifer mentioned was far more serious than she had let on. The following clip shows some of Jennifer's questioning, which was done while she was hooked up to a lie detector test. The investigators know that these results cannot be used in court, but they can help point them to the truth.
Yeah, we were in the car.
Okay. And then it got heated in the car?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, did it ever get physical in the car?
She pulled my hair.
Okay. How far from the venue were you, or was it still at the venue?
No, it was right before she got out of the car. We'd already started driving, and she was yelling at me. And she just yanked my head back. And I slammed on the brakes. And then I yelled at her, "What are you doing? Gia's in the car." And I reached back and hit her arm. Travis to hit her arm. Just trying to make her let go of my hair.
As mentioned at the start of this case, only 3 people knew what happened that day. We don't know for a fact what parts of this story Jennifer is saying are true or not, but it is clear she is laying all of the blame here on Meghan. People get into arguments all the time, and while getting physical is never the answer, Jennifer seems to be absolving her part of the argument while making it as if Meghan went crazy in front of Gia. From all the sources available, Meghan was an excellent mother to her daughter, and her acting violent in front of her for no reason seems out of character. I also want to point out the long pause between Jennifer's last statement there. This is a classic example of filling the silence. Jennifer is uncomfortable, despite trying to come across as calm and collected. If she was recounting the facts as they happened and she was confident in her recollection or version of events, Jennifer would not have paused for 12 long seconds to add that she hit Meghan's arm away.
And when she finally let go of my hair, I started slowing the car down, which is when she started opening the door and saying, "I'm going to get out." Oh, first she had called her boyfriend.
You hit her in the arm how many times?
Oh, I don't know. I just reached back until she let go of my hair.
Okay.
I
Are
don't
you
know.
sure that you were hitting her arm?
No.
You were just hitting something?
I was just reaching back and...
Okay.
I mean, it had to have been her arm because she would have been like this. So, I'm assuming it was her arm.
Okay.
Yeah, but she called her boyfriend first and wanted him to come get her.
What's
And
his
that
name?
was before she pulled my hair. His
Okay.
name is Brendan. She calls him Burr. That's his nickname, B-U-R.
Jennifer tells the investigator that Meghan called her boyfriend and asked him to come and get her, but she does not mention why or when this occurred. Given the wedding guests who said Jennifer was significantly intoxicated, was Meghan worried about how her mother was driving? If she was, why would she leave her daughter in the car with her?
Cursing back and forth at one another and really getting ugly like that. I mean, you're
Oh, are
saying
you
that
asking me?
she's...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she called him, you know, "I want you to come get me, I want you to come get me," and he must have said no. And then,
Whose phone did she call him with?
hers.
Okay.
And then,
And this is when she pulls your hair not too long after that?
yeah,
What predicated that?
who knows? I have no idea.
Were you guys in the middle of yelling at one another and she pulls your hair?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Jennifer's response, "Yeah, I'm sure," shows her recollection of the events that night is not clear, and this will be because of her level of intoxication. If she was sober and the pair had been in an argument, A so-called out-of-the-blue act, like grabbing hold of your hair, would have stuck out enough to remember what led up to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so then, after he wouldn't come pick her up, and she pulls my hair.
So using derogatory terms towards one another? Would that be
No, I
fair
don't call
assessment?
Megan names, yeah.
Does she call you names?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
I mean, not of course, but yes, she does.
Okay.
Not like...
Why would Jennifer need to paint Megan out to be the bad guy in this situation? Her claiming that she doesn't call Megan names, and then a second later responding that Megan, of course, calls her derogatory names, is strange behavior for a mother whose daughter is still missing. She has already admitted they were in an argument, but still continues to put the blame onto her missing daughter. This behavior possibly wouldn't stand out of harshly if Jennifer's general demeanor wasn't so cheerful. Once again, her daughter is missing.
Trying to get her to let go of my hair. She finally lets go of my hair and starts slowing the car down. She's like, I'm going to get out. And I'm like, you're not getting out. You're not getting out of the car. And I was almost to a stop. And she started opening the door, which is why I was slowing down. And I was almost to a stop, and she just opened it and jumped out. So then I stopped the car and got out and walked around it, closed her door that she had jumped out of, and I was looking for her. I couldn't see her anywhere. I'm calling her name, and she's not answering me. I can't leave the car because Gia's in it. So I'm just calling her name, get back in the car, and I can't see her anywhere. So I got back in the car and turned it around because I figured with the direction she jumped out, she'd be heading the opposite way. So I got back in the car and turned around and tried to find her with the headlights. I had the windows rolled down, and I'm just calling her name, calling her name, calling her name. And she's just not answering. And I couldn't see anything.
How fast do you think you were going when she jumped out?
Oh, I mean, like, literally I was almost to a stop.
Okay. Like less than 5 miles per hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because as soon as she started saying she was going to get out and started messing with the door handle, I started coming to a stop.
And you couldn't see her?
Mm-mm.
Did you hear anything when she jumped?
Mm-mm.
You didn't hear an ouch or anything like that?
No. No.
Then you went back to the car, turned around,
Mm-hmm.
headed back towards the farm?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's the child doing?
I don't know.
In case that wasn't clear, Jennifer was asked what Gia was doing. After a long pause, she softly responds, "I don't know." Another lengthy pause follows, and then the phrase, "crying," I would imagine.
So I drove back and forth, I don't know, probably for about a half an hour, trying to find her. I called Burr at some point, but he didn't answer his phone. And then Gia was crying. Oh my God, I can't believe she was there for all of that. Oh my gosh.
Once again, Jennifer is showing concern for what Gia witnessed and not for the fact that Megan is missing.
Is this normal for Megan to flip out like this?
Not so much recently. I mean, back in the day when I first got divorced and got remarried, it was.
A child saying, "just leave her," about their mother is borderline implausible. When you add that same child was apparently crying moments earlier at the confrontation she had just witnessed as her mother left her alone in the back seat of the car, it's downright impossible.
Did you try and call her?
Try and call Megan?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. No, I did not.
Why not?
I don't know. It didn't even occur to me to try and call her.
Okay.
I was more worried about Gia and getting Gia home. At that point, Megan wasn't my focus, Gia was. So I just drove home and I took her upstairs and put her in bed.
Had Megan done this kind of stuff in the past?
What kind of stuff?
Jump out of your car?
She'd never actually done it, but Yeah, she's threatened to before.
Okay. Any more drinking or anything that night for you?
No. Definitely.
Muscle relaxers, anything?
No.
Okay.
No. No, I was so tired already. I was exhausted. I didn't take my makeup off or anything. I never do that. I didn't take my contacts out.
Okay.
I just got in bed with Gia because she was asleep. And I just crawled in with her and cuddled her.
Okay. Did that surprise you that Megan was acting the way she was acting in front of her daughter?
In front of her daughter, yeah. And that she wouldn't stop.
Okay.
It definitely surprised me. I mean, she hasn't done anything like that before.
No?
No. And usually in text.
Hmm.
You know, she likes, she's an angry texter. An instant angry texter.
What kind of stuff sets her off?
Me. Anything I do. You know, she'd done it to me a few weeks ago when I stopped by to pick up Gia while she was at work. I met her at her work and picked her up. And
Where does she work?
Blue Mercury at Bridgeport.
What is that?
It's a cosmetic store with aesthetic services.
Okay.
She's an esthetician.
You'd stop by to pick up
Oh, I picked
Gia.
up Gia and asked her what time she was going to be done with work, and she said 5:30, and I thought, you know, you had told me 5 before, and she was like, yeah, I thought it was 5, but it was 5:30, and I just kind of rolled my eyes, because she does that a lot, like just doesn't know her schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what? I'm like, well, I just don't understand how you never know your schedule. Like, you're 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not know whether you get off at 5 or 5:30?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I woke up at about 5:30
On Sunday?
on Sunday because the sun was coming out, and I got up and I got dressed and grabbed Gia and went out to look for Megan.
You didn't call her first?
No. No, I had her phone. She had left her phone in the car.
When did you figure that out?
When I took Gia out of the back seat, I saw it on the floor.
After 4 days of intensive searching, the authorities were forced to call off the search. A massive amount of manpower had gone into looking for Megan, but with still no sign of her in a lengthy radius around where Jennifer said she got out the car, they needed to scale back. Of course, they would continue to work on Megan's case as an active investigation. By now, a fair share of suspicion had fallen on Jennifer amongst the investigators. The story she told them wasn't making sense, and when her lie detector test results came back as inconclusive, it further concerned them that she wasn't telling them the whole truth. But they would soon have a major development. On August 23rd, the day after the search for Megan was called off, a group of joggers were enjoying a brisk outing along the quiet Dayton roads when one of them noticed something down a steep embankment. It was Megan Cordy.
Sad ending to the search for a missing woman from Yamhill County. Joggers stumbled on a body near Dayton, believed to be that of Megan Cordy.
Megan's body was discovered down a steep, rocky embankment. Why hadn't the searchers been able to find her? Because Megan was found 9 miles away from where Jennifer said she got out of the car. This discovery brought a tragic end to a heartbreaking case.
A community pauses to remember Megan Cordy ahead of a summertime tradition in downtown Dayton.
Megan's body was collected from the scene and transported to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy. The results would show she had suffered significant injuries. Megan's cause of death was ruled to be blunt force trauma to the head. She had suffered aortic separation, which would have caused an instant death. For the next 30 days or so, there was little to no information from the authorities regarding Megan's case. That was until they held a press conference on September 27th to give an update on the case. During this press conference, District Attorney Brad Berry detailed the events leading up to Megan's death and discussed the autopsy's findings. He informed the press that the medical examiner felt that Megan's injuries were not consistent with being hit by a car, and the lack of damage to her bare feet showed she had not walked any distance. It was also revealed that Jennifer canceled her second polygraph test and, from then on, stopped cooperating with the investigators. Perhaps the most important piece of information to come out of the press conference was the following. Brad Berry revealed the medical examiner believes Megan exited the car when it was going at a speed greater than 5 mph.
How fast do you think you were going when she jumped out?
Oh, I mean, like, literally, I was almost to a stop.
Okay.
However, due to the death being ruled accidental, the district attorney said there would be no criminal charges brought for her death. The investigators and the district attorney believe that Jennifer was driving in the wrong direction after missing a turn when Megan fell or jumped out of the car. She then hit the ground before rolling down the steep embankment. Shockingly, there was mention of Jennifer potentially having sped up right before Megan exited the vehicle, something that could only have come from Gia. Jennifer Weathers was charged with driving under the influence and reckless endangerment. She went to trial in October, and since Jennifer hadn't taken a breathalyzer test that night, the prosecutors would have to rely solely on the witness evidence from those who saw her at the wedding. She ended up taking a plea deal to drive drunk, facing no charges relating to the death of her daughter. The prosecutor and district attorney were open in their frustration regarding the lack of charges relating to Megan's death. They publicly stated that Jennifer had misled the police. She spent 5 days in jail and was put on 3 years of probation. Closing, Gia now lives with her father in Salem, Oregon, and Jennifer is not allowed to have any contact with her. The latest update in the case came when Megan's father sued Jennifer for $500,000 for negligence causing Megan's death while driving under the influence. He also sued the wedding venue for almost $1,000 for over-serving alcohol and failing to prevent Jennifer from driving while drunk. A judge dismissed this after he failed to respond to a motion by the defense. In truth, we will likely never know what happened to Megan Cordy. This is a case that will forever have far more questions than answers, and based on Jennifer's behavior, she is unlikely to ever come forward to tell a different story. This case ends here. Thanks for watching.